Welcome to the Supernaturals, the summer edition.
I can't stop yawning.
It is currently over 100 degrees here in Colorado. Don't know why. Hot as shit today, everybody. So
global warming.
Yeah, it's a hot topic. Yes. Anyway, yeah. So it's hot as shit. So bear with us today as we pack ourselves into our studio full of technology and lights and all that jazz. But summer can be fun. Me personally, I'm a fall guy. I'm a winter guy. Sometimes I'm even a spring guy. But I'm definitely not a summer guy. I think I'm okay with the beginning of summer. And then I'm like, I'm good.
I think I only like the summer because my birthday's in it.
Yeah.
Although looking forward to summer breaks as a kid, like in school, was pretty awesome.
See, to me.
But like you forgot how hot it was, you know?
Well, to me, I think that because everybody had a summer break growing up, in school and shit, that it's become like ingrained in our minds to look forward to summer when in all reality, like summer fucking sucks.
Yeah. Well, now we just fucking work and that's all we do.
Yeah.
And it's not really a break. It's just hot as shit.
Yeah. There's no break. You come home to a hot ass house, your AC, like your electric bill is high as shit.
Yep.
Yeah. You can go outside, but bro, have you ever been outside in like the fall? You get your flannels on, your boots on, you walk
cozy.
out, go
it's
to a
nice.
pumpkin patch. Like, bro, that is so much more comfortable than
Haunted
being out
houses.
here. Also, it's way easier to cool down than it is to warm up than it is to cool down. I mean,
you can only take so many layers off.
Exactly.
Right?
And if you're still hot, it's like, oh, gotta, spray myself with
That's
something.
why here at the Supernaturals Casa, we keep our house at 58 degrees during the winter because we'll throw on a hoodie and a blanket.
Yeah, it's
in
like
our living room.
We make sure because our AC bill or our electric bill is so high in the summer that we're not paying that for heat, in the winter. So it's like if somebody complains like, bro, it's cold in this house. Well, put on
your winter coat.
Put on some shit.
Get your cozy socks.
Put on some socks, bro. So funny.
I honestly don't mind living in that condition though. It's not too bad.
Nah, man.
It's definitely way better than freaking sweating.
It's true. I don't know. It's
like literally doing that right now.
Yeah. It's also like, we finally reached, I guess, the dog days of summer, right? Like after the 4th of July,
It's
and
true.
This episode, is going to come out?
August?
Yeah. So we're really in it. We're in the dog days right there with you guys. Hopefully we're passing the time. I know I'm passing the time. This isn't a plug, but I know I'm passing the time with that new college football game, bro. Add me. Let's play. Let's get an online dynasty going. All of that. No, but back to my point. Like, I'm definitely not a summer guy, right? And, it sucks. But summer does bring fun activities, You can do, spend a day at the lake. I mean, I won't because I'm afraid of deep water.
A lot of people go to the pools. They're
the
community
pools. I'll go to a
pools,
pool any day. Yeah, pools. What else
set
do
up
you
a
do in the
towel
summer?
in there,
Yeah. What else do you do in the summer?
Some people like to go to the mountains and hike, mountain biking, Me personally,
Yes, they do.
I don't do that. Well, I hike, but I don't mountain bike. I used to go on a couple mountain biking trips, but I don't even own a bike. So.
You can go hang out at the beach if you live, if the beach is kind of near you, you can,
honestly
go to the lake or
going to a hike and then a nice little brewery after is a pretty solid day.
That is a solid day.
On a nice hot summer day with hopefully misters.
Yeah. Concerts, I guess, are another big one.
True. The Red Rock season is upon us.
Yep.
Though it's been getting rained out quite a bit lately, but now we haven't seen a single drop of rain
for like 2 weeks. It's just ass. So back to the hiking though. I mean, would you ever, maybe join like a tourist group or like a hiking group or something? And
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
It seems like they're not people my age though.
That's fair. They're older.
Yeah, exactly. They're like older married couples, that just like doing it. I know some of my coworkers do that. They're on hiking groups, and you would just be meeting like those type of people, which isn't a bad thing.
No. Yeah,
but it's just not like
you want to hang out with people your own age.
Exactly.
Yeah, I fully
or at
agree.
least close to it. You know?
Because we finally get girlfriends, and all of a sudden we're like, yeah, I want to introduce you to my friends. She comes over, and there's like 60-year-old dudes just like, yeah, this is Mark. This is, they're like, how you doing?
Kids are over
playing somewhere in the fucking street or some shit. And you're just like, yeah, these are my friends. She's like, bro, what the hell? A couple of the guys playing chess,
Hey, don't bash on chess though,
dude. Chess it's I'm not knocking chess, but it's definitely like an older person game.
It's true.
Yeah, it's just been around for it takes 100 years.
It takes skill.
Yeah, that's why I don't play it. You know what I am pretty good at though is that college football game.
You're a checkers guy.
I'm a neither guy. Everybody's like chess or checkers. I'm like beer. I'm like cornhole.
I honestly hate checkers. I do love cornhole. Cornhole is fun.
What's the difference?
A ton.
There's a lot in chess and checkers.
Like certain pieces can move certain ways, and checkers is just you move on your color and go across the board trying to get and take out the other opponent's pieces. Similar, but it's very different.
I can't tell you the difference there. You explained it to me, and
chess is very strategic. Well, I mean, checkers can be too, but checkers is just like a piece. You just have a piece across the board.
I thought chess was the one.
Chess, you got pawns, you got rooks, you got knights, you got bishops, you got your king.
Yeah, checkers is just a circle, right?
Yeah, it's just like one of the circle dot things.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can like jump each other and stuff. It's an interesting game, but I'll
take your word for it.
I just don't like it.
Yeah, I guess hit that like button or whatever if you like chess or checkers.
Yeah, just let us know. Are you a chess or a checker fan?
Yeah.
Or neither. Because, some people don't like either of them.
Yeah, so that's me. I don't really care.
For our audio listeners, we got some green lights on today.
Yes, we do. Yeah. If you want to see, again, the new studio and you haven't seen the last couple episodes or whatever, jump over to the YouTube. Check it out. We try to change the color every day. Obviously, we'll have some overlap. We try to kind of have them depending on what we're talking about. So,
right.
Green is... you'll just have to find out. But dude, I was actually just telling Jake this. In Colorado, I saw an article the other day. There's a nudist group that they do hikes. So like this one guy runs it, and it's like he's trying to, I guess the goal is to be one with nature, right? So it's like just you.
Big old nature walks.
Yeah, exactly. And, it says, he said, guys have to bear all. Like they have to have their thing just swinging around. And they said girls' clothes are optional. And so, like, that's cool. I mean, I totally get that. But also, like, if I don't know if I want my, dangling just lopping around.
Put a sock on it.
Yeah, while I'm fucking... walking through the woods. I mean, what if you get mosquitoes or, you know what I mean? Like there is so much shit that could, what if you see a rattlesnake and that's it.
What if one of the girls are hot?
Well, that's even worse. That's even worse. Cause then you could be sitting there sporting a bone dog and it's just so awkward.
Everyone's looking at you and you're just like,
exactly.
It's nature, guys.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that on the nature. If you can do it, I mean, or if that sounds interesting to you, then yeah, go ahead. Do your thing, but you will not catch me there. Just too many risks
with little reward.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you want to see something cool naked.
Yeah. It was an interesting article, though. I mean, I get what the dude is doing. I just think like I'm all good on that.
He wants to be one with nature, and there are other people like that. So.
Yeah. So, since we're on the subject of hiking or whatever, I've got these lights. They're green. What is that? Like a forest or like an earth? Like earthy kind of? What is that? Oh, God, that's so great.
A forest?
No, today, I found out that there is technically what people call a Dyatlov 2.
Dun, dun, dun.
Jake doesn't know too much about this incident. It is called the Khamar Daban incident, and that is what we're going to be talking about today.
More shock value.
Yeah, it's another fucking wild story. This one, though, this one is crazy, man. Like, this one is. We'll talk about the theories and stuff. I think I figured it out.
I don't even know if I'm ready for it yet.
Yeah, so Jake knows a little bit about this.
A very basic thing.
Yeah, it's known as the incident itself is known as the Madness in the Mountains. Also took place in Russia. You know, I got to be honest, I can't say I'm surprised. So today,
doing crazy shit there.
If you guys haven't seen the Dyatlov Pass incident episode, go back, watch that, because we are going to compare the two incidences, and I don't know, just kind of try to figure out what the heck is going on. You know? Mm-hmm. I don't think we will, but we'll try.
We might have theories of our own, you know.
I mean, I think I figured this one out. That's a spoiler for everybody. I do think I figured this shit out.
You figured it out?
I think so.
But was it, once again, innocent lives taken for just...
We'll get there. But yes, this one, unfortunately, 6 people died. And the difference between this one and Dyatlov...
And how many people died in Dyatlov?
9. The difference is this one, somebody survives.
Well, didn't someone in Dyatlov survive too?
Yeah, but he left early. He didn't get to see all the shit. This survivor did see all the shit. Saw everything go down. Yep. So,
alrighty, let's jump in.
Buckle in, everybody. We're going to talk about Khamar Daban incident.
Put your seatbelts on, buckle up, and get ready for the ride.
We got our little drinky drinks here. Everybody grab your little drinky drink.
Keep your hands and legs inside the vehicle at all times.
Yes. Exactly, Jake. Okay. Well,
alrighty. I will probably interrupt you a lot.
That's fine. If you have questions, I'm sure everybody else does too.
Exactly.
So, you know,
we're on this journey together once again.
And, you know, yeah, it's just, you know, comment down below what you thought. We got a couple comments on the Dyatlov episode.
Very true. Yep.
They're pretty fun to read. I mean, everybody's kind of giving their own thoughts. So if you guys wouldn't mind, send that shit in because we want to read it.
We
will read it.
We don't even care about the fucking like. Just comment on it.
Just comment because it's fun. Or send it into our fan mail.
Yep.
Or whatever. They're fun.
We'll read that as well.
Love reading your guys' thoughts. So hopefully my phone doesn't die during the middle of this. I wrote all the shit down, just like usual.
That's why we need an iPad.
Yeah. All right. So in August of 1993, 6 Russian hikers set off on a journey in the Khamar Daban mountain range in Russia. Before we go any further, no, this was actually not the same mountain range as the Dyatlov incident. That is a common misconception.
In what year was that incident? Once again, for our listeners.
It was like the 60s.
Cool. So 30 years later?
The 50s. I'm sorry.
30, 40 years later?
Yeah. So, yeah, 40 years later, I think. So, in fact, the southern Ural mountain range where Dyatlov happened is about 1,800 miles away from the Khamar Daban mountain range. However, I've never seen any other stories quite like these two, and it's kind of weird that they both happened in Russia. You know,
strange coincidence for sure.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not really surprised.
Some shit's going down.
Apparently, there's another one too. We can maybe talk about that later. But yeah, apparently there's another one.
Like recently?
No, that one was in the 70s.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So today we are going to read to you the full story of what has been dubbed as I said, the Madness in the Mountains. In this story, like Dyatlov, these hikers all died under mysterious circumstances. But unlike Dyatlov, there was one survivor who, after a certain amount of time, helped us discover a little bit more about what happened. Although, don't get your hopes up, there is no definitive answer as to what happened to these hikers, and having the eyewitness accounts from the lone survivor makes this story that much more haunting. Time to sit back, relax, grab your favorite mug, and follow along with us as we attempt to uncover the mystery of Khamar Daban. in the late summer of 1993, 6 hiking students of the Azimut Tourist Club followed their teacher, Ludmila, 41 years old, into the Khamar Daban mountain range. The students varied in age, but they were all quite young. There was Tatiana, 24, Alexander, 23, Dennis, 19, Valentina, 17, Victoria, 16, and Timur, 15.
Wow, that is young.
Yeah, not like the groups that you're concerned about going to join.
Well, they're still 10 years away from me, so
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So a little too young for Jake, I guess.
well, I'm not thinking about it like that, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I want to just hang around as
No, I get it.
15-year-old, you know,
Older, like super old, super young. You just want,
a good 30 chilling.
All right, fair enough. So this group was actually one of the 3 Azimut tourists, or one of the 3 groups that Azimut Tourist Club had in the area. In fact, one of the other groups hiking in this region was led by Ludmila's daughter. The plan was that on August 2nd, Ludmila's group would leave their first resting spot in the Merino village and follow the Langutai River all the way through the pass of the same name. Then they would ascend up the Honolulu Mountain.
Apologies for all.
Yeah, so sorry if you're Russian. I don't know, man. Walk along its ridge, and their journey would end at the plateau of the Angita River.
Quick question.
What's up?
Have they done this like hike before, or was this their first time ever attempting it?
No, it's a very popular trail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they would often. The group itself hadn't done it, but like Ludmila and like she had led hikes and stuff up there.
Okay.
So
she was familiar with the area.
Yeah,
for sure.
A lot of people were. Yeah. So it was very, very public space. I guess I shouldn't say like too public, but like it's like hiking, through like the Rocky Mountains, right? Like people
know the stuff.
There's trails and shit that like people know. Yeah. So it's like that. So at the plateau of the Angita River, they were meant to meet up with Ludmila's daughter's group 3 days later, which would be August 5th. Apparently the group actually made a great time on their trek up the mountains, and they reached the peak or a peak a lot sooner than expected. Then on the 4th, they began to descend the peak, but the group was struck by a pretty intense thunderstorm. Their path turned from dirt to mud, which caused them to make camp. They tried to build a campfire, but failed each time, leaving them exposed to the elements with only their tents to keep them warm.
That is rough.
Yeah, I know.
No fire.
Sense. Yeah. So after the cold and rainy night on the morning of the 5th, the weather had cleared and they were able to build a fire. They ate breakfast and finally continued on their path.
Dude, waking up cold, though, after a rainy night with no fires gotta suck.
Yes, it does.
Like, demoralizing at that moment. Like, you're just like, well, you're cold, wet, your stuff's wet.
Yeah.
You couldn't keep warm. Hopefully, at least the sun could heat it up a little bit. Yeah. But I don't know what the weather was like there. So,
well,
because it obviously wasn't
reports,
snowing.
It was too hot, right? It was August, so there's like it's the that's the warmest the mountains are for us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just no snow up there yet. It's basically too late for I guess like it to be like blistering heat, but it was too early for snow. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like perfect.
Mountain storms are a pain.
They pull up and then they leave without any warning.
Dude, they are fast.
Yeah, they're very fast. And
that one time when we went hiking.
So I was gonna say the time that we went and filmed the Bigfoot episode, we our tent we were getting rained on in the middle of the night. It was already super freaking cold, and we were just like we both woke up. Rain's just pounding on. It sounded like hail, right? There were some heavy ass raindrops. Yeah. And then it started coming through our tent. There was like a hole in
dripping in the middle, and I was just
there was a hole in our
and
rain
I'm
cover.
Sleeping on the freaking slope, falling down into the water puddle.
I know we were the last people there, but we got shafted when giving this the spot for the tent, dude.
Oh, it was terrible. And on top of that, going back to the thunderstorms, when we were on the hike,
Yeah.
one of those days there,
Yeah.
you turned back because your feet were just
Oh my
obliterated.
God. Yeah. My feet were, dude, I think I still have like marks from those blisters.
Oh, dude. It was rough. I was not prepared with the correct shoes. It had just rained. Dude, the stream was coming through the path.
Yeah.
There was snow covering the whole trail all the way up there.
Yeah.
It was a little early to go on that trail for sure.
Oh, 100%.
But
yeah,
when we
snowpack.
got to this meadow area, which everyone was like, you have to get to it. It's such a great view. It was so far up that damn trail.
Yes, it was. They were like, oh, it's like 20 minutes. We're like,
Freaking an hour later, we're still not there.
yeah. And then that's when I was like, okay, fuck this meadow. I was like, my feet hurt.
Cal turns back. Probably another half an hour later, we finally get to it. And we're like, oh, this is sweet. I'm taking pictures and stuff, just hanging out. All of a sudden, I like start seeing these clouds roll over the mountains.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shoot, it's about to storm. Literally, not 5 minutes later, it was just dark clouds all above us.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, shoot, we should go back to the car.
No, I know.
And then it started raining a bit. And I was like, I don't really want to deal with being soaking wet, trying to get back to your car, being muddy.
Yeah.
But the gist of it is rainstorms can come out of nowhere and really fuck your day up.
It's true. Yeah. And now, you know, I mean, sure, this happened in, you know, the early 90s, but now we have like tools that can like keep a fire going, you know, in storms like that.
Right.
You know, I don't know. So,
Yeah, I don't know how prepared they were either, right? Because
so that's a critique coming later, but
Okay.
we'll get to that.
well, yeah, jump back in.
So obviously they wake up, they're having a good time, right? You know, they're you know, they got out of the storm.
It's a new day.
It's a new day. You know, they got their fire, they got, you know, their food in them and stuff, and then they're just, you know, making their way down the mountain. And then all of a sudden, shit literally hits the fan. Like some straight out of a fucking horror movie.
It's just real life horror.
So put yourself in this situation, right? Like imagine you're just walking down, you know, with your group, whatever, you're just hanging out, you're cracking jokes, whatever.
Imagining.
Yeah. So on that day, they descended the mountain at a height of about 7,861 feet.
That's not too bad.
Now, Alexander was in the back of the group. While everyone was walking, enjoying the sounds of nature, their feet crunching the dirt below their feet, Alexander began screaming at the top of his lungs, a scream of pure fright and panic. His mouth was foaming and his eyes started streaming tears of blood. He fell to the ground, his body twitched and convulsed until he eventually went limp and died on the spot.
Jeez.
The leader of the group, Ludmila, ran over to him, tried to help him regain consciousness, but it wasn't even 5 minutes later that she herself began to scream. Her eyes were streaming blood and her mouth was foaming. Her body did the exact same as her student, and she went limp and died on top of his body.
In a matter of minutes?
Literally minutes. This whole thing happens in about 10 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Tatiana ran over to Ludmila first and collapsed. She kept grabbing at her throat as if she was choking. And she actually crawled over to a sizable rock, grabbed it with two hands, and bashed her own head against it as she screamed until she died.
She started bashing her own head.
Just fucking like straight out of like, talk to me. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. Her own. Yeah. So
Guys.
Timur and Victoria both ran away from the area. So, they took off, but it didn't take long for them to also collapse. They both began throwing up blood and ripped off their own clothes. They died as they clawed at their own throats violently. Fucking crazy, dude. So the last two, Dennis and Valentina, ran down the mountain as well. But Dennis still soon shared the same fate. His body stopped running, collapsed hard, convulsed, and eventually he died. leaving Valentina alone on her descent down the mountain.
And how old was she again? She's
17.
She's a young one.
Yeah. So she ran.
She has to go down the whole mountain by herself now.
Wait for this shit. So she ran as much as she could, obviously adrenaline pumping through her veins, eventually having no choice but to set up a tent for the night under a tree. The exhaustion of the day she had forced her eyes to shut, and she did end up falling asleep. The next day, she decided to head back up to where her fellow students had died. She grabbed all the supplies she needed. After a while, Valentina found power lines that were placed along the mountainside. She decided to follow those, which led down to a river. It wasn't until August 9th that she was found by a group of kayakers. They basically, took her in and helped her get to the nearest police station.
Imagine you're just kayaking down the river and you see this young girl just
Covered
confused,
in dirt,
lost, trying to get help, waiting for someone to come down.
Yep.
Dude, that's gotta be such a scary thing.
I think the scariest thing, dude, would be like, you're like, okay, I'm alone, right? But she ran back up and got supplies. So having to go back up, like I'm just imagining like, okay, yeah, seeing that is haunting.
Yeah, not only do you witness
but
them
you
dying,
go down, then you go back up, and imagine like you're going up like the hill, and then you just get over that like little like summit, and you just see them all like exactly what, it's like the whole time you're probably thinking like it's just a bad dream, right? And then you see it again and you're like, reality sets in.
Oh yeah, big time.
And then you have to like scavenge off their bodies so that you can survive.
Survival though.
I mean, it's true, but fuck, man. That sucks.
It's gotta be so tough, but if you needed those things, you have to go back and get it. And it's just horrific events that you have to witness and then live with the rest of your life.
It's true.
Like you watched people die alongside of you, and then you had to go back and see them again.
Yep.
While also dealing with all of this alone.
It's true, man.
Like she didn't have her guide. It was just her.
Just her.
And like you have to rely
17-year-old girl
on your memory of trying to go back and be okay.
Yeah.
While also surviving whatever else is out there, And
it's like, yes, seeing all of that happening, you're like, what the fuck just happened? Right? Like you're probably so confused. Yeah.
Questioning everything.
So obviously going through something like that, then having to survive for days by yourself as a 17-year-old girl, it would be quite the shock. So when Valentina arrived at the police station, she actually didn't speak for several days. Officer Yuri Golias led the search for her friends' bodies, which finally began on August 24th. Unfortunately, because Valentina wasn't speaking, the researchers had to find the bodies themselves, which actually took 2 days using helicopters. So not too long, but if Valentina was speaking, it would have been like,
she could have pointed them in the right direction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they get the bodies, bring them back, and then we get to the autopsy. There, they found that all of the bodies had bruised lungs, but there was nothing else out of the ordinary found.
Just bruised lungs.
Just bruised lungs. That led them to the final conclusion that everyone died of hypothermia. Then they said that the only one who didn't was Ludmila, and that she died of a heart attack.
So they're saying that they died from hypothermia from the night prior with the rainy night.
I don't know.
Is the claim?
The claim is that they just died of hypothermia.
Interesting.
So while that was the confirmed cause of death, I, like many others, think that there's some shady shit going on here. Multiple theories came out.
Like, does hypothermia really make you bleed from the eyes?
That I don't know. I have no fucking idea. I don't know that.
I'm genuinely curious.
Or bash your head into a rock? I don't think so.
Well,
I know we
did learn the hypothermic delusion or whatever that can happen.
Yeah, but like killing yourself, like bashing your head into a rock, I just don't really get that.
And
also, how come they all like, people have different bodies,
right?
Different immune systems, different, all that kind of shit.
People can
You
handle
would see
things
like
differently.
maybe if it was hypothermia, I feel like one of them, would have dropped first, and then like maybe another one like a little bit later. But the fact that it all happened so quickly, just like right after the other, nah, dude. I call bullshit. I call fucking bullshit. So the rescuers actually who got the bodies actually even said that it was too warm to be hypothermia.
That's what
it's the middle
I
of
was
August.
thinking.
Yeah.
Like it was hot.
It makes sense to me because they died in the middle of August during the day. It doesn't make fucking sense. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not like a scientist,
if they died at night, right?
Yeah, like maybe you wake up and you're like in the middle of the night, right? It's super cold and but nah, dude, middle of August, middle of the day, you just lose your marbles. Nah, dude. So, another said that it was like another one of the rescuers. They said that it was Ludmila's fault because they said she didn't feed her students enough and that they were malnourished. Also, Soul, stop. Fucker's dreaming over there, bro.
I know. Puppy's having a dream.
I know, bro. So, yeah, they said that she was not treating her students correctly and that
She wasn't providing them enough nutrients.
And that could have caused it. But at the same time, I've never seen any. I mean, I looked this one up. It doesn't say anything about malnutrition causing people to like lose their minds, right? It's just
wouldn't
like
that show up in an autopsy?
It would.
Yeah.
So it's also like if that wasn't
like
part of it, then what the fuck?
The person would be able to tell like that they weren't getting enough of something.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Ludmila, unfortunately.
So they blame it. She was a nice scapegoat for that.
Yeah.
Saying,
well, some people blamed it on her. Yeah. But like everybody else, right? The fact that they all died in a short time span in the middle of the day doesn't add up. So
was there some radiation in the air?
No, actually there was no
like no crazy science experiments going on.
Hang on, just chill out. Okay,
Sorry,
you're jumping the gun here.
I'm
bro.
just trying to. I'm putting out my thoughts.
Here are the theories, the most popular theories. These are obviously not hypothermia. They're a little bit more, out there. One of them is contaminated water. So there was a lake nearby that they would dump like toxic waste into, but the path that they were on never went by that. So, I mean, I'm crossing that off the list.
Like they never would have gone to it at all.
No.
Was there water sources along their path?
Yeah. I mean, they walked along a river that led to it, but they said like the river led to the lake, not from the lake. So it's like,
so the water was flowing into the lake, not vice versa.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So,
well, yeah, then there would probably not be a good solution on how it would have gotten upstream. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And another one was poisonous mushrooms. So I guess, they're blaming Ludmila again for not teaching her students what mushrooms are good to eat and stuff. And I mean, again,
well, that means that
the Vikings,
they
used to eat mushrooms
girl
and shit.
Didn't eat the mushrooms if that was the case.
Yeah, true. But also call bullshit. She hasn't said anything. Is she still
alive?
As far as I know, she was checked into like a mental institution for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like released. And then she lived a very quiet life until 2017, which is when she gave her like the whole story.
I mean,
which is what I'm reading.
Would you want to be bothered after that, though?
Fuck no.
Exactly.
I'm going into hibernation and not talking to nobody. Fuck that.
Off the grid.
No, because like you try to go out and meet people and nobody else has that same experience as you.
Oh, completely.
Like you can't just be like, hi, yeah, I survived a bunch of death in the mountains. Yeah, hey, nice to meet you. Like people would be like, the fuck? I don't know. And it's like a defining moment in her life because she was 17, right? So it's like you're 17 and that's what you experience. Like when I was 17, like
I just
I was
graduated high
playing
school.
football.
Graduated high school.
Yeah. I get the most intense shit. Well, I can say that the most intense shit that I was dealing with in high school was my dad was going through chemotherapy. He had stage 4 colon cancer, and that fucked me up. Right. I had to deal with depression and anxiety for a very long time.
Totally.
So that was like, I had to deal with that. Right. Like after that, even after he got better, I had to deal with the aftermath of that whole thing. And so it's going to take a fucking lifetime. Right.
Well,
That's
yeah,
insane.
I mean, it clearly showed years and years later, she finally had said something.
How old would she be right now? So she was 17 and 93.
She's 17 and 93. That
Yeah.
means she was born in 76.
Wait, so 93.
Right?
So she was 17 and 93. So oh, fuck.
Minus 17 would be
What's 24 plus
76, right?
31. I don't know. I don't know. But she's not as...
She was 17 and 93,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
7 years later would be 2000.
Mm-hmm.
She's 24.
Yeah. And then
24 years later, she's now 48.
Yeah.
There's your math.
Thank you. I failed.
I did
math
that with no
a lot.
calculator.
Yeah. So there you go.
Brain. Just
Yeah.
kidding. It was pretty simple
I don't
addition.
know. Yeah.
but
Well, I don't know. You
I
just
was
let me
trying to-
sit here in silence, like fucking.
I was gonna
doing
let you
the
figure it
math.
out. You had a
Hell
calculator.
no. Fuck no. I don't know how to work that thing, bro. It's like fucking gibberish to me.
Okay, so she's 48 today.
Well, then, I hope that she's out there right now.
But she came out 7 years ago
Yeah.
about it. So
Yeah.
she was 41.
So, Valentina, if you're out there, somehow hear about us or whatever, hope you're doing well, because
Oh, yeah.
we sympathize. That shit sucks.
No one needs to go through that.
No, but I'm gonna go ahead and blame your government really quick. And I'm saying that shit because here's the deal. Check this shit out. So, the thing that we know is that these students lost their minds up there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other theories and accounts, a couple other sources that said that one of the girls, like one of the other students, bit Valentina, like she was trying to carry her out and she like bit her hand and like wouldn't let her. They said that Teamer actually went over before when he was throwing up blood. He's a 15-year-old kid bashing his head against a tree. That's another one. However, I didn't see any of those confirmed, so I didn't put them in my thing. This is just
those were just like potential claims.
Yes.
Well,
So
it is called Madness in the Mountains, right?
yeah. So I mean, it could have been, exaggerated by, years of being on the internet, I should say.
Years and years of being told and then manipulated into a different, almost similar story.
Exactly.
Right?
So
Yeah.
I think, we can mention it, but I don't think that happened. The only person that I fucking trust is, Valentina here. So, yeah, these students did, lose their minds on that mountain. And people truly have no idea why. There's no definitive answer. However, I'm going to explain my theory now. So much like Dyatlov, I believe that it was some kind of Russian experiment. The coroner was probably paid off and, to give some stupid cause of death. That didn't make any sense to cover it up. That's what I think personally. After further research, I discovered that in the Khamar Daban Mountains were actually test sites for one of the deadliest poisonous gases to ever be created. Ever. It was the Novichok nerve agent. It was created by the Russian military in 1993. The same fucking year.
And what would that do to the body?
Well, it's fucking destroys you from the inside out.
Which would explain
a lot.
Bleeding from the eyes.
So they would often test the nerve agent in the Khamar Daban Mountains, while the route that the group took was known as a public trail. I personally believe that didn't matter. I think that the Russian government wanted to test the nerve gas on people, unsuspecting people, to see what would happen. And unfortunately, Valentina's friends turned out to be the victims.
Wrong place, wrong time.
However, it's still interesting that Valentina was able to escape.
Yeah.
Right?
So, like, where did that nerve agent live?
So, could she be immune? Is there an immunity thing out there? Maybe she was out of reach of the gas. Maybe, you know, it didn't hit her. Who knows? But
Interesting
something
theory.
went down on that mountain, and it's something that caused 6 people to lose their minds and die in very weird ways. And I don't think anything other than the Russian government is true. Fuckers.
And these 6 innocent people lose their life just thinking that they're going to have a nice hiking trip. You know?
You know what I think?
It's like you waking up one day and just going, I'm going to go hike in the Rockies for 2 days.
Yeah.
And then you
stumble
never
upon,
come back.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, it's not like a fucking bear got them, or it's
Right.
not like, you know, they broke their ankle and like they had it, or it's not like, you know, it's not like some revenant shit, right? It's not like they got, you know, some force of nature or something got them. No, it was something super unnatural, and it shouldn't happen to the human body, right? Hypothermia, in my opinion, is such a bullshit excuse because you die from like the cold, right? That's the whole point.
That's hypothermia.
Yeah. In the middle of August, I get the mountains are cooler, but in the middle of August, in the middle of the day, that doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry, you can sleep in a t-shirt in a tent.
Yeah. And also, too, like,
And you said they were
Okay.
only at like 7,000 feet.
they didn't have.
That's
Exactly.
that's not that
That's
high.
another thing, too, dude. We're fucking like, we're 5,000 feet in fucking Denver.
Yeah.
2,000 more? Isn't that where fucking Elizabeth is? Isn't Elizabeth like 7,000 feet?
They're pretty close, yeah. I think
So
it's
what
like
the fuck?
6,500.
I grew
but
up
yeah.
in that shit. Well, I guess it, you know, it does make a difference whether you grew up in it or whatever, you know, you're more acclimated to it. But
But I mean, 7,000 feet isn't crazy.
no. And
Now, if we're talking like 13, 14,000 feet, you know,
Okay.
10,000
I
feet.
get that.
Yeah.
but 7,000 and you're fucking middle of August, middle of the day. You had your fire in the morning. Sure, you didn't have it in the night. Cool. It was a little probably chilly of an evening.
And I mean, you probably had each other's body heats too.
Yeah.
You know?
Why would you not?
Yeah.
But then
If you're
that's
that
why
cold.
that's why they're kind of talking shit about Ludmila, though. She's getting criticized because they're saying that, you know, taking the hypothermia, I guess, into consideration, if that truly was the cause, which again, I don't think it is at all, but if it was, you know, they're looking at, okay, they didn't have a fire. So did Ludmila feed her students? Did she do like body heat? Did they, you know, did she tell them to bundle up? Like, what did she do that, you know, like, because if you're all of your students and yourself die of hypothermia in the middle of summer, I'm sorry, but that you'd be a shitty ass fucking
tour guide. I also
And I'm not
want
I
to
don't
point
think
out that if she was familiar with this trail and area, how do you not prepare for it correctly?
Exactly.
And know how to survive throughout the trek?
I think if you're a tour guide, you should pretty much know how to survive like a snowstorm,
in
right?
the worst conditions.
In the worst, absolute worst conditions.
Yeah, 100%.
If you got to shovel yourself out of a damn fucking snowstorm, you should probably have that knowledge.
Now, there are certain circumstances where you might not be able to. However,
Yeah, true.
right? You're at least prepared for it.
Yeah, and you like know at least like what to do. Sure, it might fail, but at least you know what to do. And it's like
I have a hard time believing that she was not telling them to eat, because there's things even back in the 90s where like MRE meals and dried foods are like easily accessible. Wow.
yeah,
You know, and it's like, that's enough nutrition for your body. Like it is.
yeah. No, I agree, man. That's what I'm telling you. I think
And
it's
if they're drinking
fucking
filtered water,
Russians.
then their body should be okay. I just don't think malnutrition makes you bleed from your eyes, but
No, and I think, yeah, I mean, to think about it, we've always kind of been like, I always kind of imagine like when us versus Russia, it's never been like, you know, a full on war, but it's always been this like passive aggressive, like literally like that episode of Simi Valley we just watched.
The bro
It's
off.
the passive aggressive between Xander and Molly or whatever.
It's like, look at him and
look at him and just make a disgusted look and then just like shake your head. And he's like, and she's like, what the? Yeah.
Then she has her friends do it.
But that's what I'm saying though, is I always feel like it's us and Russia has been this just like passive aggressive standoff, right? We've never like actually fought them, right? We had a Cold War, the space race, all that kind of shit. Like it's all just like we want to be better than them and they want to be better than us. Who's like really the number one superpower like in the world? And so I think like, I mean, dude, they've always like, it's known that Russia has, experimented some shit, right? Like it's known. It's just like how Hitler experimented on, fucking people in Germany and stuff and the Nazis.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's trying to kind of tap into, who is the strongest weapon. And I mean, yeah, during that time, dude, biological warfare was huge. We had the atomic bomb and everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure the 90s, isn't that when Oppenheimer was on trial? Or was that like the 70s? I think that was the 70s.
I thought it was way earlier. Yeah.
The 70s. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot this was in the 90s. So my point though is like, dude, yeah, Russia was always doing some shady shit. And I feel like, yeah, if you found a nerve agent, but what's the best way to experiment it to find out what it does to people? You would experiment on people. Now, while the usual person like you or me, I would fucking get somebody from like prison who's on like death row and I'd just be like, all right, test it on this fucker.
Yeah. One thing that's a little confusing is why only them?
Well, they probably found out what the fuck they needed, right? You find out, oh, okay, well, this shit works, right? Like
with 6 people, sure. But I mean, I feel like now testing on people is a terrible thing. So don't mix this up with what I'm about to say. But if you're wanting to see human trial, like why is it only 6 people? I just feel like that's not a big number to know. Yeah, it can work or not, because there also was someone that got away. And now,
well, maybe there was, but maybe they were testing it in like confined spaces, like a lab or something.
Sure.
And they're like, let's see what it'll be like out in the open. Yeah. And then they find out, okay, this is what it does. And then all of a sudden you're like, yep, we're good. We don't need to do this anymore.
I mean, if you saw that result, you probably would think it was fine. But
another thing too is, what if they did do it to other people?
And we just don't know.
But none of them escaped.
Right. They were all.
The reason why we hear about this and why we know about this shit is because Valentina escaped to tell the tale.
That's true. Had she never have gotten away,
probably would have no idea. Because Russia would have covered it up. They tried. Yeah. With the fucking coroner. They're like, yeah, just give some bullshit excuse.
Yeah, bruised lungs? Really?
Bruised lungs. That's going to cause you to fucking bleed from everywhere and then bash your head again. No, fuck that.
That makes no sense at all,
dude. Yeah. So
there's a lot of theories that you could get behind this. It's just
I got crazy. one theory only, and it's fucking Russia. So, and they're doing that nerve gas shit. I said they were fucking, they were already experimenting that shit in the fucking Khamar Daban mountains.
Yeah.
So like,
and that's a known fact.
That's a known fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact too. That's not just like a theory. That's like a known. Yeah. Jesus Christ, that's a known fucking fact. So,
nice.
I don't know.
That is crazy.
But
what a wild story. Now, it is pretty similar to Dyatlov, but there's a lot of differences as well.
Well, that's the thing is, do you think, like, when you think back, did Dyatlov, were they testing shit over there? Were they testing this nerve gas? Sure, it was way back then, but maybe they were working on it, maybe they were like, okay, we need to cover up Dyatlov.
I don't necessarily think it was the same agent or whatever, but I definitely do think they be trying some shit in the mountains.
I agree, dude.
Some secret stuff.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's also apparently what the Devil's Pass director thought too, because that's what he put.
Yeah, he just made it a little bit more twisty, but yeah.
Yeah. A little more cinematic, but
like when they found that door just in the side of the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's true though. It's like up there, dude. Like
who the fuck's going to go up there?
Exactly. You could just hide shit.
Exactly.
There could be fucking like all this shit like in our, well, dude, did you know NORAD in the Springs?
Yeah.
That's a whole like fucking military base inside the mountain.
Yeah. It's like a nuclear base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even know about that until like the 90s.
Yeah.
That was like secret for a long time. Right. So it's like we could have, dude, there could be so much shit in the mountains that you just are like, I know like Area 51, if you look at it from like Google Maps, it's just a bunch of runways and shit.
Runways
like a couple
and
hangars.
buildings. Yeah.
Well, they're also next to a mountain. So I believe like the majority of the base is in the mountain. It just only makes sense.
Underground.
Or underground.
And
go through the mountain underground, like, whatever. But that's what I'm saying is, dude, like in these Khamar Daban mountains, they already said there's military activity up there. So of course it's got to be that. Of course it does. I can't. Everything else.
When you have a fact.
Contaminated water.
Right.
The fucking mushrooms.
The mushrooms I could see potentially being something, but with the fact of military activity there, right?
Yeah.
Hard to argue that.
Exactly.
The lake, that's a stupid thing.
Also, the mushrooms, I'm sorry, but Ludmila would have known that shit.
I agree. If you're that smart like that, dude, you're gonna know what you can and can't eat in these mountain ranges, especially if you know the area.
Exactly.
Like, like if you go to a berry bush, right? Even I know what are poisonous berries and what are like blackberries and raspberries that you could just pick off a bush.
I mean, I don't. But yeah.
Well, for people that are more out in nature, you know that stuff.
First of all, I'm out in nature. Thank you very much, good sir. I just don't eat the berries. Bring my trail mix. Got a little pack of beef jerky with me. You know what it is.
Okay, well, if you're surviving off the land, you know what you can and can't have.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like if I was a tour guide, like I would need to know that information.
Of course. You have other people's lives in your hands.
Exactly, dude. Also, it never said anything about there not being enough food or enough, like if they found them like completely, there's no food.
Would have been in the autopsy.
Also, there had to have been food because fucking Valentina had to survive for fucking,
so what did she
days.
go back and grab?
She grabbed food, probably. So it's like,
she already had a tent.
Yeah. So it's like, bro, they had food. They didn't need to eat that shit. Yeah. Fucking, it's the gas. It's the fucking gas. Bro, that's what I think.
It's interesting, though.
I'm anxious to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah,
so please send them in because I want to hear. Because to me, it's the gas. If anybody has another idea,
please let us know.
Please let us know because I would love to fucking hear it. However, if you say mushrooms or contaminated water, I will immediately delete your comment. I'm just kidding.
I never saw that.
What the fuck's he talking about? No. No, even if it is, I want to hear about it. I want to know, if there's something.
I might do some research after this and just be like, are there any mushrooms that can cause you to bleed from your eyes?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I know they can kill you, right? There's poisonous ones for sure. But again, why would they need to eat them? Yeah. How the fuck would Ludmila not know about that shit? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, why would you? If you had enough food, why would you need to eat anything off of the land? I'm
fucking telling you, it's the goddamn Russian government, bro. It's not that hard. Jake knows too, because when I finally finished like my whole research on my thing, I literally was like, bro, I know what the fucking answer is. And he's like, well, I know it could be like this and that. He's like, I only read a couple things. I was like, bro, it's not that. I know what it is. I'm like, I know what it is.
Yeah, please let us know your thoughts because I'm anxious to see what other people think.
Yeah.
Especially if it's completely different from the claimed ideas, your idea too.
Yeah.
That would be something else.
If it differs from anything that we've said, please let us know. That'd be sick. I'd love to hear about it. We also want to know your thoughts. We do have our episode coming up.
A movie. We got a movie.
We have an episode coming up about the kind of like a deep dive of the VHS movies, but we would like to know your thoughts if you want us to switch that out. And probably, I mean, we could do the third Russian hiking disappearance.
Yeah. Do you want another unsolved mystery?
Do you want another unsolved
the VHS
mystery?
Deep dives?
They also, America has their own, they call it America's Dyatlov. It's the Yuma County 5. where 5 basketball players mysteriously disappeared, and I think they blamed it on. What did you say?
Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia. Yeah, 5 people don't have fucking schizophrenia at the same time. So we could.
I don't think
go
all
into
of them
that.
did, but yeah.
Either way, we could fucking research that for you guys. I'd love to talk about that one. I don't actually know about that one too much. Is
on our schedule at some point.
We'll get to that one for sure. But
we just don't know. Or do you want it now, or do you want to wait a little bit?
Yeah. So I mean, 3 mountain disappearances in one season can be a little repetitive, but I think it's super interesting because this shit happens a lot apparently.
And it is crazy that
I'd like to
before
compare.
this though, I also just didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
Like obviously. I knew of Dyatlov, but I didn't know it to the full extent you did at the beginning, right? But I had no idea this existed.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't hear about it.
Fucking me neither. I was just doing some research, and all of a sudden it was like Dyatlov 2.
The fucking people of Reddit, dude. They're just like, yeah, dude, this is similar. And you're like, what the fuck?
Dude, Reddit has been super sick for us, for sure.
They know some shit.
For sure.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
If you watch Simi Valley, you'll know.
Yeah. Yeah. Zonder.
We've been binging that lately.
Yeah, Jake hasn't seen it, and they came out with a movie a little bit ago. So I'm like, before we watch the movie, I'm like, bro, you got to watch the show.
Dude, all of them are really funny.
They're so funny, dude. Getter's my favorite, but Bryce. Yeah. Anyway, but back to it, though. I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion, this, little journey that we go on. And I hope, you come up with some theories on your own, and please send them in. I want to hear about them.
You know what I actually enjoy?
Huh?
Like even being a host of the podcast is I do love like getting into these unsolved mysteries because they're just so fascinating.
Dude, it's so interesting.
Like it's just mind blowing. Like, some of the things we don't know happen all around us.
I know, dude. It's like, okay.
Like every fucking day horror, dude. It's crazy.
While the situation itself sucks and it's heartbreaking, it's the unknown aspect of like what the hell happened that really like is captivating, because I think humans by nature, we need to know like answers.
Oh, you want answers, and
we need answers.
But like even thinking about it, you're like, I need to figure this out.
Yeah, but there's certain things that's just like you don't know the answers. Sure, there's probably people out there who do know the answers. I'm looking at you, Russian government. But it's like, yeah, for the rest of us, just fools sitting around here drinking whiskey while we fucking talking to some microphones, we're never gonna know unless one of those people who do know comes out and says it. And while that's a dream, for everybody, right? To finally have that answer, to finally scratch that itch, of like, what the fuck happened?
Right.
You have to come to the realization that you just don't know. And Valentina, thank you for coming forward and telling us about this, because while it is super unfortunate, I also think it's very important because we need to know who's doing shit like this. And I think it's better to know what happened to your friends from your side than it is to have somebody else come out and give some bullshit excuse of like, oh, they just disappeared. Maybe they were going to throw shade on like Ludmila's name and stuff, like how they were trying to. And now we know like that's not the case, right? Something went down, and we need to, you just have to be cautious, man, wherever you go. You have to be cautious.
Always keep an eye over your shoulder.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
Dangerous ass place, dude.
Especially recently.
Yeah, for fucking real.
Fucking the U.S. had a crazy incident yesterday.
Well, yeah.
Wild.
Technically, it happened a while back because this episode doesn't come out till August, but yeah.
Well, yesterday, as in what the date is today.
Yeah, but
when we recorded, but yeah.
Yes. So, all right. Well, this has been another episode of the Supernaturals, our unsolved mysteries.
We need a little button for that.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Unsolved mysteries. The Supernaturals rules.
Yeah. Thanks again for tuning in and listening. We appreciate you guys so much.
Yes. The from all over the world. Thank you for listening.
Literally.
It's awesome.
It's been
incredible.
Eye-opening, wild.
Having a blast.
Yeah.
Follow us on our socials and stuff. You know, stay tuned. We're posting our reels. We're posting updates and things like that. Also, follow the Patreon. You get bonus content from behind the scenes, stuff of episodes. You'll get bonus episodes as soon as we can fucking have time for that. And then
maybe if we switch out the VHS stuff, maybe the VHS deep dive will be a bonus episode, you know? So
yeah. And then, we're excited for things to come. So we have we're
still
plans.
Working on things though. We're still grinding away on some merch ideas, you know.
Merch will be coming soon.
We're trying to get it. Like we said, once we're wearing it on the pod, it's out.
Yeah. That's our announcement. And so just stay tuned for more episodes. Let us know what kind of episodes you guys like to see, whether it's true crime, unsolved mysteries, just bullshitting about horror movies or whatever, or more on location stuff.
We're trying to pump those. We're getting there.
We have 3 planned this season. Yep. So stay tuned for those. Tell us if you like them. They're going to just get better. And
yeah. And let us know how you feel about the new studio. We think it's an upgrade. So
just let us know what color you guys want. Actually, the color will be, it's
going to be relative to the topic.
It'll be relative to the topic. At the best we can. So
yeah. Oh, also we are going to, once the season's over, we're going to have 4 or 5 holiday specials for you guys.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
So the Supernaturals, big announcement here. The Supernaturals is not going to take a year-long hiatus after Halloween, which is the end of the first season. We will be having holiday-themed episodes. Well, monthly, on holidays.
It'll probably come around monthly release.
Yeah, probably like the Wednesday before the holiday comes out. So, or the holiday comes. We'll have those all the way up through March, and then season 2 should be releasing in April or May. So
yeah,
we got you guys. Stay tuned.
Got a lot of content coming.
A lot of fun stuff. So, all right, guys, we've been the Supernaturals. See you around the graveyard.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to this chilling episode of The Supernaturals. For your protection, make sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And stay tuned for the next episode.